He was thrown into a well, sold for coins, forgotten in chains. Years later, the world bows before him. Yet the only face he longs to see is the father who still weeps for him across the desert. What happens when the betrayed meets the betrayers? When mercy stands where revenge could rule. This is the moment every tear, every trial, every dream was leading to. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe for more ancient truths. Let's begin part 4, the reunion and the revelation. The land of Egypt had changed. Where famine once threatened, abundance now reigned. Granaries overflowed under the command of a man whose wisdom had saved a nation. Joseph, the servant turned governor, the dreamer turned deliverer. Years had passed since the prison gates opened, and the chains fell from his wrists. Now he wore the robe of authority, yet beneath the splendor, his heart remained humble. For he knew every rise begins with a fall, and every trial hides a purpose. But far away, beyond deserts and distance, another story was unfolding. In Canaan, in the home of a blind old man whose tears had never dried, Jacob still wept for his lost son. Each morning, he sat where Joseph once ran as a child, his hands tracing the earth, his voice whispering prayers into the wind. "My Lord," he would say, "you have taken one joy from my eyes, but not from my heart." His sons stood around him, ashamed and restless. The famine had reached their lands, and their stores were empty. They had heard that Egypt's governor was generous, a man of strange mercy and unmatched wisdom. Jacob, weary but firm, said, "Go to Egypt. Bring back provisions. Perhaps God will guide you toward some remembrance." And so they set out. The same brothers who once threw their own blood into a well now walked into the heart of the empire, seeking food from the very hands of the brother they had betrayed. When they arrived at the gates of Egypt, the court was crowded. But when Joseph entered the hall, all fell silent. He walked with the calm of one who carries divine purpose, his robe glimmering like morning light. As he looked upon the strangers before him, his breath caught. He knew them. The years had changed their faces, but not their souls. They bowed before him, 11 men, weary, hungry, unaware. And in that moment, Joseph saw the dream he once told his father. 11 stars bowing before him, fulfilled in flesh and time. But he did not reveal himself. Not yet. He spoke through an interpreter, his voice steady, his gaze unreadable. "You are strangers," he said. "Where have you come from?" "From the land of Canaan," they answered, "seeking provisions, our Lord." He studied them with quiet pain. "You are spies," he accused, testing their hearts. "No, my Lord," they pleaded. "We are honest men. 12 brothers we were. One stayed with our father, and one is gone." Joseph's heart trembled, but he kept his composure. He commanded that they leave one brother behind and bring the youngest, Benjamin, as proof of their truth. As they departed, he secretly ordered his servants to return their payment in their sacks, mercy hidden in mystery. When they returned home, and Jacob saw the grain and the hidden silver, his heart sank with fear. "Do not take Benjamin from me," he cried. "I cannot lose another son." But when hunger returned and no food remained, Jacob raised his hands toward the heavens. "Take him," he said softly. "But God is the best guardian, and he is the most merciful of the merciful." When they returned to Egypt, Joseph saw his younger brother, Benjamin, and his eyes softened. He took him aside and whispered, "I am your brother. Do not grieve over what they have done." Then he devised a plan, not for revenge, but revelation. He placed the king's cup in Benjamin's bag and allowed it to be discovered. When the guards called out, "O men of the caravan, you are thieves," panic spread among them. The brothers swore their innocence, until the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. They fell to their knees. "God has exposed our sin," they said. "He was our father's favorite, and now this." One of them cried, "We will not leave until our father's promise is fulfilled. Take me instead." But Joseph refused. "God forbid that we punish any but he in whose bag we found our property." As they returned home, their faces darkened with despair. Jacob listened and bowed his head. "My sons," he said, "go back. Seek Joseph and his brother. Despair not of God's mercy. None despair of his mercy except those who disbelieve." And so they returned once more, weary and broken, standing before the same man whose life they had once destroyed. They spoke humbly, "O mighty governor, distress has struck us and our family. We have brought but poor goods. Yet give us full measure and show kindness, for God rewards the charitable." Joseph looked upon them, and his eyes filled with tears he could no longer hide. The years of silence broke. His voice trembled, yet glowed with grace. He said, "Do you know what you did to Joseph and his brother when you were ignorant?" Their hearts froze. They looked up, eyes wide with disbelief. "Are you Joseph?" they whispered. And he said, with calm divinity, "I am Joseph, and this is my brother. God has been gracious to us. Indeed, whoever is mindful of him and patient, God never wastes the reward of the doers of good." Shame overcame them. By God, they said, He has chosen you above us, and we were truly wrong. But Joseph's light only grew brighter. He smiled gently. No blame upon you today, he said. May God forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. He gave them his robe and said, Take this to my father and place it over his face. His sight will return. Then bring your family, all of you, to Egypt. As they returned across the desert, carrying the robe of forgiveness, Jacob lifted his head suddenly. I sensed the scent of Joseph, he said, though others doubted. When the robe was laid upon his face, light returned to his eyes, and the old man wept with joy. He rose and said, Did I not tell you? I know from God what you do not know. And so the caravan arrived in Egypt, the family reunited at last. When Jacob entered the court, Joseph ran to him, his light merging with his father's. He raised his parents to the throne beside him, and all his brothers bowed before him. The dream fulfilled in perfection. Joseph turned his face upward, tears glistening in divine gratitude. My Lord, he said, you have granted me authority and taught me the interpretation of dreams. Creator of the heavens and the earth, you are my protector in this world and the hereafter. Cause me to die in submission and join me with the righteous. And so ended the story of the boy who dreamed. The servant who forgave, the prisoner who ruled, the prophet who turned betrayal into mercy. The dream had come full circle, and destiny, written by God, had been fulfilled in light. And so, the boy once thrown into a well, the servant once sold for a few coins, the prisoner once forgotten, stood before his family, whole, victorious, and radiant in the light of God's mercy. The brothers who betrayed him fell to their knees, and Joseph, the dreamer, the patient, the faithful, forgave them all. Jacob wept tears of joy, and the family was reunited, a living testament to patience, faith, and divine justice. This story teaches us that no act of betrayal, no trial, no hardship is wasted in the sight of God. With patience, trust, and forgiveness, even the deepest wounds can heal, and the darkest nights give way to light. Remember, mercy triumphs over vengeance, patience builds destiny, and God's plan is perfect, even when we cannot see it. If this journey of faith has moved your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and explore more ancient truths with us. Thank you for joining us on this sacred journey. May your heart carry the light of Joseph's story.